You can open up and just receive. 'Cause what he's pouring out is nothing you've ever seen. You've ever seen. So hello peace, hello joy, hello love, hello strength, hello hope. It's a new horizon. Hello peace.
Hello hope, hello joy, hello peace, hello strength. It's a new horizon. Welcome this evening to Propel Deep Dive. I'm Megan DiMartino, and this is part of my Propel Your Business and Life Activation program. And I am so excited to have my guest this evening, Kimberly Spencer. Kimberly and I met a couple of months ago at her Behind the Brand. Hello, Miss Kimberly.
Hi.
At her Behind the Brand conference, and she's a publisher, but she'll share a little bit about herself, of her magazine Behind Her Brand of the same name, and everything else she does, podcasting and mentoring and coaching and facilitating. She's just one God girl that I just really wanted to introduce you guys to and really glean from she. But as I shared with you, Kim, that this is an interactive evening. Now, so it's not a podcast of sorts. It kind of lends itself to that. But it really, I encourage people to join us because it's, in the end, it's not just about the Propel Your program. My heart is to help others, learn from people and, ascertain information from everyone. And we're all business oriented. We're all entrepreneurs of sorts. And so the 5 C's, which are my non-negotiables that I have built businesses with, are clarity, courage, confidence, commitment, and compassion. And so each week, and so there's a program with this, but each week we take one of the C's and I invite a guest, as I shared with you. And because your perspective and your whole dynamic of clarity, which is what we're doing tonight, it, is not necessarily what I verbally would say. I'm sure we're of like minds and hearts of it, but again, we all glean from each other.
Right.
So really that is what Propel is. And people who join us pretty much know who I am. So without further ado, I'd love you to share a little bit about you, because we're just getting to know each other as well.
Right. Well, I love to always start off. Obviously, I a woman of God. I love God. I'm a Jesus girl. I am a wife to an absolutely amazing man. I am a mother to 2 kids. I have a high schooler and I have a toddler. So I have my 14-year-old will be 15 in a couple of weeks, and I have a 3-year-old. So if anyone had both that distance in terms of age, you can tell that my household's a little busy. But I'm also someone that loves business. I have 4 businesses. Behind Her Brand is one of them. My longest one has been You Impact. I've been doing that for 26 years, and it's a marketing and branding firm. And I have So Reap Harvest. We have a subscription box service that is pretty robust. And we also have a publishing company, You Impact Publishing Group. And all those businesses have been around for a number of years. So all of them play into my passion, which is marketing and branding. And I absolutely love supporting people and pouring into people. So each leg of our businesses all support that. But I'm also someone that loves, I'm a foodie. I love the travel. And I always call myself a creative because we just love to dive into all different type of creative, from art to just music to dance to everything. So that's me in a nutshell.
And that's a lot. And,
Yeah.
and only a wife and a mother, but like you said, of 2 very distinct ages of life journeys, meaning from a 15-year-old to a toddler. I mean, it's distinct journeys. So that in itself is full. I did have the opportunity and blessing to meet your husband at your behind your her brand conference, and I could see that he's a true support to you and
Yes.
enhances your life. So that's
Mhm.
one of the reasons, Kim, I when I was putting the Propel program together, it was very clear to me that the business and life are synergistic together, because if they're
Yes.
not, then you're creating a job for yourself, and you might as
Yes.
well not have the stresses and the uncertainties and all of
Right.
that go with being an entrepreneur. I mean, the
Right.
blessing of it outweighs the other if you're an entrepreneur, but if you aren't cognizant, like you said, about loving to travel and a foodie and dance
Yeah.
and the arts, a creative, if you're not joining those two together, it really doesn't really work. So
Right.
my part is to help people understand how they can work to join those two together and
Right.
build a business and a life with that. So
Exactly.
with the word clarity, I had a meeting with someone this afternoon, and he actually he used the term clarity in the vein that and this was a meeting that I was it was a sales meeting, meaning he was selling me something, okay,
Right. Mhm.
and so basically, or a program, and so with that, though, he was talking about the word clarity, and he was talking about how many people have no clarity on what they're doing and the why of why they're doing it.
Right.
And
Right.
so clarity is so hand in glove with the why, because if you're not clear on
Yeah.
your, but the word clarity is always the fulcrum. So if you're not clear of, your why, then that's where, and I'm sure you see this as well,
Mhm.
with people, that they jump from one thing to the next.
Yeah. Yeah.
You as a marketing agency and branding, helping people brand their businesses, if they're not clear on what the business is, that gives you
Yes.
nothing to work with.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So what is the word clarity to you? To share about what it sound, in your life experience, in your business experience, what
Yeah.
does clarity mean to you?
To me, when it comes to, especially in the business sense, it means that I don't have any ambiguity about what my purpose is. I don't have any ambiguity in terms of what I know that I'm called to do. And I think clarity also is rooted in understanding your value too, because when you're very clear about your value, your purpose, the direction you're going into, you're going to move a little differently. So when I look at that and I look at, am I clear? Am I focused? All of those things start, as you know, starts to connect the dots for you. And
Mhm.
so for me, if I have too many questions around something, obviously not being clear, then I know that obviously that's not a form of clarity. But for me, I'm very rooted in what it is I know that I'm supposed to do, what I'm called to do, and there's no ambiguity there. And it does fall into family too. I'm very clear on the type of wife and mother and businesswoman, how they all mix together, how I want to be, and I don't mix those lines up. So for me, it's just being very focused and not having any ambiguity.
You used a very important word in
Mhm.
describing your clarity, and that is your purpose.
Yeah.
And I'm reading Pedro Adeo's book on the finished life,
Mm.
and he is talking about identity and then
Mhm.
purpose.
Right.
And he quoted Dr. Miles Monroe. I'm sure you know
Mhm.
Dr. Miles Monroe,
Mhm.
and who is no longer with us. But when I gave my heart to the Lord, God moved me, Kim, just to give you a little
Right.
background. To me, I grew up on Long Island outside of New York
Mhm.
City, and I went to Catholic school all my education with the exception of junior high.
Okay.
And my mother, we moved from one side of Long Island to the other, so I went to public school during that junior high years. Oh, and
Nice.
she hightailed me back to Catholic school so fast my head was spinning. So anyhow, um, and I'm not saying anything about my education, which was great, and the Catholicism, but I really had no personal relationship with Jesus. Meaning, you said
Mhm.
earlier, meaning when sharing about who you are and who
Yeah.
you are, you said about a Jesus girl. And so I did not. I really did not. And
Mhm.
so I look at the Trinity, so to speak, because Catholic structure is very, it's speaking about the Trinity. And I look at it as a boardroom, that Father, Son, Holy Spirit. And they're like,
Yeah.
okay, she's got a good heart. She kind of knows us, but let's get her to the Bible Belt quick.
Right.
And so every person that had I moved here for a job with Alcon Laboratories
Mhm.
in Fort Worth. So I moved to Fort Worth. And my younger daughter, now I don't have a 15 or a 14-year span, but there was a 5-year
Yeah.
span. So
Mhm.
the older gal was finishing high school. And so she finished and did not move to Texas. But the 11-year-old, she had no choice. So
Right.
she moved with me.
Mhm.
So anyhow, my secretary to my nail tech to my stylist, they all talked about this Jesus like they had dinner with him last night. And it was
Yeah.
like, then I said to my secretary, could we have lunch? And so I just said, tell me about this Jesus that you speak about.
Yeah.
And she did. And she shared her own personal testimony and her own personal story. Well,
Mhm.
having no basis of anything, zero,
Right.
I then God used another friend who took me to a church in Dallas called Church on the Rock,
Mhm.
and then there happened to be one in Fort Worth, so I moseyed on in there by myself, and then over a period of time gave my heart to the Lord. So I share that because I really, as I said, other than now, attending this church, which was very, very rooted in the Word,
Right.
I didn't have a background. So TBN, Trinity Broadcasting Network, became
Yeah.
that was my TV watching.
Yeah.
And so Dr. Miles Monroe was very, very important to me. He was on there a lot, and I learned a lot from him. And of course, he speaks about the kingdom of God
Mhm.
and Matthew 6:33. And so with that, I was reading Pedro's book, and he shared a quote in the chapter beginning with purpose,
Mhm.
and he quoted Dr. Monroe, and basically I can't quote it, quote unquote, but it was
Yeah.
basically death that's not the problem. It's dying, not knowing your why. Why are you here? Your
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah.
And I feel so fortunate having really had that revealed to me,
Right.
over time. And so, what would you say in a nutshell?
Mhm.
You said you're very clear on
Yeah.
that, but what is your purpose?
Mm. My purpose, I've always said, is that God sends me people that I'm supposed to help birth the seeds that He's given to them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like when someone comes to me, whether about their business, their book, their dreams, their story, whatever it might be, I consider those seeds. Those are things that He wants to be cultivated and put out there, and He's given me the gift to be able to do that. So that's what I do.
Our purpose are very, very congruent.
Mhm.
Because over time, my passion is creative. I look at myself as a creative.
Mhm.
And if I said to this person that I was speaking to today, I said, if I could not create, I could not breathe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but my purpose was revealed to me over time that really it is to help others identify their dreams, goals, and aspirations, and then
Yeah.
help them actualize those. And
Right.
so we're very, very congruent in our purpose. Now I see somebody. Oh, Miss Melody. Now Melody is a beautiful gal, and you speak about creative.
Okay.
Um, and I don't see her beautiful face yet, but we went to. Are you familiar with Clubhouse?
Yes.
Okay, I think I asked you that when we talked. Um, well, um, uh, the week after your conference, the week
Mhm.
after. Hello, Melody. The week after your conference, I hightailed it back up to Dallas,
Mhm.
and Breakfast with Champions did a conference at the Lincoln Tower near the Galleria.
Mhm. Yeah.
And but I was, and Angeline, who I've known, and she does work with me on projects, and she'll share about what she does in a bit. But Angeline and another gal rented an Airbnb, and
Mhm.
8 women were in this Airbnb.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yes, but it was great. It was really great, and we really had a special time, being
Nice.
together, fellowshipping, and getting to know each other. So, Angeline, you're back here, and have you been listening to Kim?
I have. Oh my gosh, I love everything that you were saying. I'm a God girl too. It's all God instances. I don't believe in coincidences anymore. I read a book by David Moran, Pray Big Prayers, I want to say is what the book was called.
Yeah.
I talk about it in my book that I don't know how to point, Megan. I don't know what to point. And I believe in God instances. They all happen
Mhm.
for his good, and yeah.
Yeah.
So I,
Awesome.
I met Megan through creating a virtual summit, Faith Forward virtual summit. We were part of Breakfast with Champions on
Okay.
Clubhouse with Glenn Lundy. And do you come through to that and listen to some of that segment at all in the
I
morning?
haven't.
So
Mm-mm.
so he created this group called Elite Rise and Grind for a while, and that's how I met Megan DiMartino. And I started the Faith Forward Summit as a God instance. It was a download. It was a church. I talk about it in my book. There I go. Now I know how to point. And about why it all kind of came through as an entrepreneur. I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to do all these things. And one of them,
Right.
I was part of accountability group to do a summit. I'm like, I don't know what to do a summit about. And in that, I went through a valley. And during the valley, God was like, stop trying to fast forward through all this, girl. You need
Mm.
to faith forward. And that's kind of how the summit came through.
Nice.
After the second time of successful streaming of it and hosting it, I got brave enough to ask Megan to speak on the stage. She came up and she spoke in February of 22. Yes,
Okay.
yes. And it's just been really, really fun. And now this
Nice.
weekend we're doing another summit for business. And it's just been, Megan's been essential in me growing and propelling my business. So I'm so excited. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I love that.
And you both need to really. I don't know um, anything about your back end of your business, but Angeline is a systems gal, and so what she very quickly glossed over. So I watched, yes, the first summit, and many of these speakers I knew from Rise and Grind. Glenn Lundy had started Rise and Grind in 2018, and I met he through a friend of mine who lives in this Austin area. They both were in the automotive space.
Mhm.
And so anyhow, very impressed by, obviously the people were great and lovely and all
Yeah.
that, but it was how she put it together, Kim.
Right.
And I mean, you and I have both been on virtual summits since certainly the pandemic, and how not streamlined they were,
Yeah.
right? And things fall apart and all of that. Well, that wasn't the case. And so then she had a second one. I didn't watch it from beginning to end as I did the first one, but I did, and it was equally as professional and fulfilling. And then she asked me, as she shared. And so we had a one-on-one call and to prepare. And I said, well, because I've been in business for 40
Yeah.
years,
Yeah.
and so over time, digital, the world has changed graphics and everything we do. So I asked her, I said, who did all this? And she goes, me. I said, you? Okay. And so I said, I need to know you, girl. But she has a full-time corporate job. She has a husband and 3 sons. And so she's a busy gal as well. But she has a dream and a goal and an aspiration to have this company that she has started called Kingdom Sparkle Agency.
Awesome.
Hence the sparkle. You know what I mean?
Love it.
We're gonna be more on brand,
Right.
Right. Right.
Go alive.
Now, branding,
Everybody's gonna know
branding.
Yes.
Right. So she's, as I call her, a smarty pants, but an equally beautiful person inside, and just committed to the Lord. And so So
Well, that's how I've got my clarity. Like we're talking about clarity today. It's only recent in the past couple years that I've really leaned in to listen. That Megan has said that that's where it always is. And surrounding myself with people like Megan and the Breakfast with Champions and different communities like the Mom Link and some others. Brooke Thomas is one of them. Has really taught me that, because I've been, not as long as Megan, but doing this entrepreneurial hustle, right? This hustle for some years now. But I've always felt like I was spinning, right? And until I finally allowed God to move, right? And have him as my CEO, go to him through all the things, and have the Holy Spirit as my COO and for all the operation stuff, and really lean into my faith. That was when things started falling into place. So I love that you're, what you're about. So I feel like I'm talking too much.
No, you're doing.
Really?
I want you to say to Anthony, because I wanted you to meet Kimberly. I wanted you to meet her because
We do have Melissa on. Hi, Melissa. Are you able to unmute and chat? If not, it's okay. Welcome.
So as she does that, I say, it's so small I can see that it says that. But anyhow, having gone to behind her brand, and only one day, it was a 2-day summit, and I could not, or conference, I couldn't attend the first day. But basically, how did you meet Nick Austin? Was it through Cheryl Spencer?
No, actually, Nick and I met, I can't think of her name offhand. Now, Cheryl told me about Nick, but there was someone else who actually introduced me to Nick, and I can't think of her name offhand. But she connected Nick and I some time ago, and so we got a chance to talk over the last, almost about a year, actually. And so at the summit was when we got a chance to actually meet each other. But we had a couple of conversations before then, and we just connected.
Yeah, she's a special gal. And, like Angeline just shared about God connections, God instances. And I did not meet Nick, so to speak, like a normal meeting of a person. I had a luxury day in clinical medical wellness spa here in Georgetown. And everyone and his mother asks a spa for donations for their events. And so after her first gala, I saw photographs on Facebook, and I knew everybody in the photos except her.
Okay.
And so I said, wow, who is this person? And so over a couple of days, I kept seeing a lot of photographs on other people's Facebook pages. And the Holy Spirit just said, help her. I said, help her? I don't even know her. And it's like, okay, but that hasn't stopped me in the past. So I DM'd her and just said, hi, I'm so-and-so, and I'd love to help you. And so she got back to me, and, we have gotten, I've helped her, so to speak, and introduced her to a lot of people. But that first 2020, when it was all very dicey, in September, so I met her in November of 19. So in September of 20, she's like, oh my God, I mean, how can I have a fundraiser? How can I do that? So I called a girlfriend of mine, or a couple, and they have a ranch in Georgetown. And so because people were still leery of having, get-togethers. And so I called them and I said, hi, can I have the ranch? Can I use the ranch? And they said yes. And so we used Shot of Texas Ranch 2 years in a row, and then grew out of it. But that was very, very pivotal.
I love that.
Yeah. So that's how I got to know Nick and her, geniusly, amazing creativity. I mean, just drips from her fingers. Yes,
it does. It really does.
Yes. So let me ask you this, because again, the 5 C's. With clarity and then courage, and the reason I put courage there, versus a lot, you hear a lot of people talk about clarity and then confidence,
right?
But to me, courage is a muscle that you
It
build.
is. Yes.
And without courage, you're not going to have confidence, because you have to go
Right.
through those things that build that muscle to then have the confidence to do
Yes.
whatever you're going to do, or have the
Mhm.
clarity and the why of doing. So let me ask you this, back to you tell me the name of the company again. I know that's your email. You imprint, you
You impact. You
impact,
impact.
you impact.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Mhm.
you and impact. I knew it
Yeah.
was the I, and I heard you say it. And so you said you've had it for many, many years. So give
Yeah.
us a beginning of Kimberly.
Okay.
You know, where did that flow all from?
Well, when I graduated from college, I only worked 1 year at a place, and my supervisor at the time was a professional speaker, and she and I were about 25, well, about 25 years apart, but we connected as if. I wouldn't say mother and daughter because I have an amazing relationship with my mother, but we just had this bond. It was so instant. And she was like, I want to speak. And I was like, well, I love to market. And so I jumped into the industry of professional speaking, managing speakers. And we worked with people like Les Brown and all of them. And it was so cool because I didn't know who any of those people were. And I'm glad that I didn't, because my eyes didn't get big. I mean, we were around some of the most notable speakers in the world. And none of them phased me. They're great. Don't get me wrong. Let me say that real quick. but I was grateful that I was just there to support her. And along my journey, I got a chance to work with an absolutely amazing speaker, coach, if you will. And I went to his boot camp because I was representing her. And when he saw how serious I was, and how committed I was, and I was like in my 20 something years old, I was just like wanting to do this and make it work. I didn't know the industry and I was hungry for it. Well, long story short, when he saw that, he said, I'm going to train you and I'm going to show you how to open up your own agency. And he did. And life just took off within a period of about 2.5 years. I had 45 speakers that I was marketing and managing. And in that time, even at that age, I did that for a number of years. It was lucrative and it was great, but I was unhappy and I was miserable because I realized that I was setting up people to fail. And when I say that, is because I did all their marketing, their management, their travel, their everything. They didn't know how to do a single thing when it came to putting themselves out there. And my team and I were really good in that space, but it wasn't helping them. And so one night, God just put on my heart, flip it. And I was like, well, what do you mean flip it? It's like flip it around, show them what to do. Don't manage them, don't market them. And I was so blessed to have a very successful agency at the time where all of them were on retainers and I got percentages off of what they made. That's how lucrative and how good we were. But like I said, it wasn't worth the cost of my piece. And so when I flipped it around and the name You Impact came up, I said, okay, God, I said, I'm going to lose everybody. And I did. I lost some. I did. Because some people were like, well, no, I don't want to do it myself. I want you to do it for me. But it was more empowering to show them, here's how I reach out to people. Here's what I do. And so it started me on my journey on showing people how to market and brand themselves. Because to me, while God gifted me to be able to market someone, they need to know how to communicate their own value to these same people who are trying to work with them and book them and that kind of thing. And it just created this whole new journey for me where I started to show people what to do, not just speakers. It started to expand, and I watched God just add people in organizations and groups over the years to now I show people, but I don't do the work for them anymore.
Wow. Yes. And so in that season, as you converted many of them, then did you convert them to a client for your marketing and branding, or did they continue to use their own companies that they had been with?
Well, some actually we're trying to find other companies because like we at that time in this during that era, if you will, I was one of the few companies that actually did everything. Like when they went to go speak, we also lined up press. We made sure their books, we made sure that we got other meeting planners to be at the place so they can hear them. Like I learned so much from him, and he has trained everybody who's anybody. He was just amazing. And I learned how to do that in that space. So many of them, honestly, didn't know where to go. And then the ones that were like, okay, show me what you do. What ended up happening the majority of the time, Megan, was I would show them and then they'll call me later. Can you train my assistant? Can you train someone on my team?
Right.
Because they didn't realize the amount of work that goes into all of that. Like it's no joke. And so I started training people's teams. And so that's kind of what it started
I,
becoming. Instead of them hiring other agencies, they hire their own team members to do it.
I see.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. And so then did you ever do public speaking at that time?
No, not at all. I did not have any desire whatsoever to be on the screen. I mean, not on the screen, but on the stage at all. I wanted to be behind the scenes. And so it wasn't until a few years later that I started hosting my own U-Impact conferences, which were always really well attended about marketing and branding, that I never had any speakers. I did 2-day events, and it was 8 hours each day, all me. And so that's when I started to really step into my own in that space.
I see.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so Melissa has joined us. Is she a behind her brand gal?
No, I don't know Melissa, I'm afraid.
Oh,
Hi, Melissa.
Hello, Melissa. Welcome. Good evening, and welcome to Propel Deep Dive. And my guest this evening is Kimberly Spencer. And we're talking about, not just clarity, but clarity is such a pivotal understanding and reality of everything. Because as we all hear the term, and you just spoke right now, truly a story behind evolving. And today, often people use it as pivot.
Yeah.
That term to me is like pivot is like, turning. It really does not depict what one season and the Holy Spirit guiding you to the next isn't,
Right.
because to me, pivot is so abrupt, but you evolved and you're just continuing to evolve. And that's what I was saying to Angeline just recently, how just in these last 6 months, she has gleaned so much clarity. And with that, her Kingdom Sparkle agency is evolving,
Yeah.
because
Right.
she's gaining that clarity and understanding of what it really can be, what it will be, over time.
And one of the things I love too about clarity, when you're really clear, you really can communicate your value very differently. Like I love going through value exercises with people, because oftentimes when we can't see what it is that we bring to the table,
Mhm.
then we tend to communicate things that are not very clear.
Right.
So I love that part about clarity too, just really being clear about what it is and who you are, and the value that you bring to someone and the expertise that you bring.
Yes. Yes, that's so very true. And I see that with so many people that I'm going to use this one example, and then I'm going to bring you into the conversation, Melissa. But there's a gal that I know who's a very successful realtor, and she actually in New York on Long Island, and she has 2 agencies, meaning that she's a broker as well. So here she's extremely successful,
Right.
with what she is doing, and she has 18 or 19 agents under her. But it's about really going within. And so, like you just said, when you're clear, you really express that clarity in such a different way.
Yes.
And as I see, as she's getting clearer and clearer, that she is who she is, because that also gets back to that inner knowing and that inner value.
Yeah. Yeah. And the more clear that you are, you're going to attract the audience that's meant for you to work with. I find when someone's not really clear, and you can always see it in their marketing or what they put out there, if it feels a little bit, confusing, that they're still not clear on who they are. And when they're not clear, they're not going to contact you.
Yes.
So I think that's why I think clarity is such an important part of what you're teaching.
Yes. Now, Melissa, as I said, good evening. Would you like to share not again, but would you like to share not only with Kim and I, but because this is being streamed in various places, who you are, what you do, and do we know each other? I can't see very well. My eyes, I'm on my phone because there's something wrong with my microphone on my computer, so I just could not get into StreamYard. So good evening.
Good evening. My name is Melissa Garrett, and I sell paparazzi jewelry. And I really hadn't. I've been on. I met you at Carla Runners, Apostle Carla Runners conference, and
Yes.
then I think we did a one-on-one for. No, you did a Zoom call before sharing your business, and then you've always messaged me when you were getting on,
Mm-hmm.
and usually I'm in class on tonight,
Mm-hmm.
but I saw that your notice for that you were on again, and so I was really trying to listen and catch up to what you all were talking about and what direction you were going in. But interesting enough, Kimberly said something that just took me to a whole nother level of thinking, because I wasn't thinking that way, because um, I know my business is set up for success, but I keep thinking I need a marketing person. I need a marketing person. I need a marketing person. But I'm thinking like Kim was pre-thinking, um, somebody to manage my marketing, to to do this and this and this and this. And then the fact that she would say, but she threw me because she said, but I was setting them up for failure. And I was like, no, 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 no. You're setting them up to win. This is working out great. Everything is going good. And then after she explained it, I said, she's absolutely right. Because if I lose her, I possibly lose the business, because I don't know what to do next. And especially if somebody don't carry it at the way that you are carrying it. So
Yes.
that's what made the camera come on, because I was, gladly relaxing, doing paperwork, and then I was like, "Oh my God, I got to get up, get a little bit better," so I get on this camera and say,
Yeah.
"Wow, that was so phenomenal." So now I'm trying to decide: do I need to take a marketing class? How do I? Because I'm trying to do a real big thing in 6 weeks, and
Mm-hmm.
it's feasible to do. I just don't know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was wondering, should I take a marketing class? Should I do a marketing for dummies? How do you how do you work a miracle?
Well, marketing 101 is to know who you are and what you are. And so, it's really about getting clear again
Mm-hmm.
about what you want to project to whatever whether it's a big sale or a conference you're going to, whatever you're doing in 6 weeks, it's about discerning what you want to convey and then put it together. I have a team, Kim has a team. We can help you with things, from a graphics to a verbiage to branding, but you have it all inside you, my friend. You already have it.
I
You know,
believe you. I 100% that you don't have to sell me on. I believe it in
Yeah.
Jesus' name. I believe it. I believe
right,
it.
right, right,
But I need a midwife. I need somebody to
right,
birth it out. I need
right.
somebody to help me push. I need you to tell me we're not using an epidural right here. We're going straight
Right.
for the pain and we're gonna go for it, or
Yeah.
how to do it. I know with everything in me is possible. I
Yeah.
I'm already ready for the testimony. I'm already ready to say, oh my God, look what God did. I'm just like,
Mm.
Lord, every day I'm losing another 24 hours in my 6 weeks to
Yeah.
get this accomplished. And I know I'm set up to win. I know it. I know it. I know it. I know it. I can sell tickets on I know it.
Mm-hmm.
How do I get those tickets out? I don't know.
How long have you been doing what you're doing?
It will be 5 years, June
Oh,
30th.
Okay.
It'll be
Yep.
5 years. And the short of my testimony is, and December 23rd, my house had a major leak in it. A pipe burst. I'm in Arkansas, and I had a pipe burst in my home, and it knocked out two ceilings. It took the walls down to the framework of the wood. Blah 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 blah. So I was really kind of really really stressed out already on a couple of other things, and so when this happened, I just was like, okay, Lord, okay, this I'm at the end. This is
Yeah.
you can't put no more on me. This is max. You've maxed out. And
Yeah.
so I went to the doctor, and the doctor was gonna give me some pills to help me not be so stressed out, and da 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 da. And when I heard the side effects, I said, "Oh God, we can't do that, because I don't have headaches now. So why would I take a pill that might give me headaches?" And then she
Mm.
was saying, and then you'll change your mood. I'm like, no, God, I love my personality. I'm not gonna change my personality. This ain't you. Da da da.
Yeah.
And then and she just went on and on. And the Lord said, don't complain. The same day I was at the doctor, with the same day my house caved in. My daughter called me, and the Holy Ghost said, "This is me. Don't complain."
Mm.
He said, when you had your house redone, when you had your house done, they didn't do it the way you wanted it done.
Yeah.
But this time, You're going to get it done the way you want it done, and it will be at no cost to you. Don't complain. This is me. So for 4 months, I've been displaced out of my home. And the Lord has done supernatural, marvelous, miraculous things and took care of me. But the business hurt because I was displaced for
Mhm.
4 months, living in a hotel, trying to transfer jewelry from here to there. And I said, now, Holy Ghost, you're not going to let me win here to lose there.
Yeah.
I know you're not going to do that. You can't win and lose. So if I'm set up to win, I'm set up to win. And so this is the lowest I've ever been in my jewelry. And I reached it. I'm two promotions away from being in the top 1% of the company. Two promotions away. I've only been in the business 4 years. It'll be 5 in June. I said, God, I've never been this low. And I said, do I just walk away from the privileges that I would get? And I don't mean walk away meaning quit, but do I just say, well, you're not going to get all the privileges you would get at the conference? I was like, no, I can't walk away. No, you don't win and lose. You win and win. And I said, I got to figure out how to get people to go to my website, order the jewelry, or host parties for me, or da da da.
Do you
And do I
have a
have to keep giving things away to get you to do that for me? Do I have to keep giving you things?
do
Because I
you
don't mind giving you things, but is that the marketing strategy? If you go to my website, then I'll give you this. If you do this, I'll give you this. If you, how do you win? You know what I'm saying? So
do you have a database, meaning that you have a website, but do you do e-blast? Do you have a database where you've captured their information?
I have okay, now you're using big words, e-blast. I don't even know what that is. So the little girl word is I have postable. Well, I have their names and address and phone numbers.
Okay, okay.
And
No,
then
no emails though? No emails?
I have emails too.
Okay, okay, okay. So what I was just, why I asked about an e-blast, that's just, Angeline has a system. Angeline, who is my moderator, has a system that can take your data and send it out to those folks. And you can do a special, not give away, but do a special that, like a housewarming, I'm just using your house example, but meaning for your pre-conference special or what have you, and get that out to them. To direct them back to your website to purchase.
Okay.
So that's one idea, that because you have to use that data to that you've taken 4 years to build and to bring it out, to connect the dots. But we'll talk in a minute, Melissa. So I just want to share with Kim my Carla story. She's talking about because it really fits to this, Kim. She mentioned Carla Runner. And Carla lives in Little Rock, Arkansas. And in 2003, I met Carla at a beauty show in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And my company had a booth there, State Beauty Supply. And she was opening her first spa called New Beginnings. And the name of my brand is Novita, and it means new birth, new life.
Right.
And she came with a colleague and to find skincare and cosmetics to have at her business. And so beauty shows are Sunday, Monday. So Sunday, very busy, but she and her friend were there, and we talked, and they bought things. But distributors don't want you to exchange information because they want you to go back and buy through the distributor. So anyhow, there was no like, oh, I'll talk to you next week type thing. It was just thank you so much, and then went on. The next day, she came back with her colleague, and now Mondays are not that busy as Sundays, but she came back, and the Holy Spirit had awakened she in the middle of the night saying, go back and pray for that Megan. And her colleague had the same message. And so they came back. Now, Carla, as you know, Melissa, is a very petite person.
Right.
And I'm about 5'7". And so she was standing in the hallway or the aisle of this trade show. And even
Mhm.
though it was less busy, the bands were still, it's like Sodom and Gomorrah, hair shows. And I'm leaning over her as she's praying, and I feel this hand on my back, and I think it's her friend. So as she finished, I stood up and I turned around, and there was this woman with white, long, stringy hair, a white dress, a gold belt, and her badge for the show. Her name of her salon was Here's Johnny, and the name of her name was Johnny Carson. Yeah.
Okay.
So she said that she is retired and she comes to hair shows to pray. So it was like she heard the mess on aisle 3 and came over, meaning there was no reason she should come over there.
Yeah.
Well, mind you, I still don't exchange information with Carla, but it took 3 more years. And a friend of hers from Little Rock, I don't know if you know Edwina, her girlfriend, Edwina, I don't remember her last name, but she has a son. And I met him at the Dallas market because by this point I had moved to from Fort Worth to Georgetown and was looking for specialty items at market.
Yeah.
And I meet this young man, and he comes after that market because he's a rep for Sundry Company, and he comes to show me more things at my place of business that hadn't opened yet. Mind you, he shares with his mother, and that mother shared with her. It's a long story, it's too involved. But here is Megan DiMartino, Novita. And so she called me or texted me, and I said, of course I remember you.
Yeah.
Who have I prayed with in the middle of a hair show before? And that the Holy Spirit guided. So I shared this with you, Melissa, because again, there's no accidents that you're here. And you know that God will open the door to how you will connect, because you don't need, I don't know how many people are on your database, but you don't need a ton of people and then do a referral type of thing. One person leads to the next person and on, but that's not what tonight's about. But if you'd like to contact both either Kimberly and I, we're here for you, and, to assist you. But Carla is just an amazing gal. And she's now she's Apostle Carla Runner, and she and I went to London to a conference where she was ordained by Apostle George Acolano. I mean, we've traveled the world together. Here is God and how God works. So there's no accidents, Miss Kimberly, that you and I met either.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
It's not funny, but I went back to my database today and I was going back over previous customer orders. And so it goes to show you that I'm still in the dinosaur days, because my idea was to call each and every one of them up and look at Kimberly's face like, what?
Yeah, but that is, in sales, but we're all in sales because sales is about touch points.
Yeah.
And that is absolutely a great idea
Yeah.
because you're going to touch these people. Yes. Yeah. It's not a bad idea, my friend. Any sales coach will say to you, to make 20 calls a day. I mean, so, I mean, it's, and then it's about that initial call, then follow up and follow back. So it's not a bad idea, my friend. Not a bad idea. But we're talking about clarity tonight, Melissa. And the thing about that is you're gaining more clarity.
Yeah.
And also, Kimberly, why don't you share about your, and I don't remember the exact word you used, but your subscription box. Why don't you share a little bit about that, meaning the scripture subscription box, or what you had said?
Well, we have one of our third companies called Sow Reap Harvest, and it's basically a bi-monthly subscription box where we compile different items for women to pour into themselves, but also to pour into others. And we've been very blessed to have a really great system where it's anything from journals to motivational, inspirational type of items. And it really grew. I know this sounds crazy, but during COVID. We got a lot of corporate contracts, but we also had a lot of people that were having us send boxes to people that were losing people, birthdays, well wishes, apology boxes. So we have like the subscription side of it, but we also have the corporate side of it too. And then the third leg of it is we have custom boxes where we just send sentiments out to people. And it's really awesome because it's very personalized. We have people that will say, here, I would love the box to feel like this and to represent, what it is. And it's always so cool to hear from people who receive them. They'll contact us because they love how personalized it is. So I've been doing that for about a few years now, actually. So yeah.
And so what you just said, I think I heard you say that you do take then corporate clients and do for them. Okay, great to know.
Yeah, we had so many amazing corporates because when pandemic hit, obviously people weren't doing anything. But after the pandemic, because of the amount of work that we were doing for people like Microsoft and it's all different amazing companies, they just continue us on. And so now we still do the same thing with the companies, but for employee appreciation, for new client gifts, and all of that.
That's wonderful. And and the other piece to it is that you're doing the purchasing, meaning so you have the inventory.
Yes.
And so that lightens the load for these companies.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's great. Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful. So, and Brian, this is Brian Coletto, and he's in Cognito there. He's a friend. He lives in New Jersey and Central Jersey, right, Brian? I said Northern Jersey, and he said, "Oh no, Central Jersey." People in New Jersey take New Jersey very seriously, because it's long and narrow there. But he's a very special gentleman, and he has. I don't want to speak for him, but are you going to come on, Brian, or are you going to stay in the wings there? Because I don't want to speak for you if you're going to join into us.
Just give me 1 second, and I will get to a place where I can put my camera on.
Okay. And there's Mary. See, now people are coming in, Kim. We're about to, 10 minutes, and we do go over, but Mary Kim Farkas is on Facebook, in the Facebook group. And so people are coming in, and they're over in the other locations. And I've had people comment after, these sessions that, they were listening. And there's Brian. Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, ladies. My apologies. I intended to be here a little bit earlier, but today was a little bit crazy between some errands at home and having to get my father to an doctor appointment and getting caught up in a lot of traffic, and then my regular workout routines being a little bit thrown off. So
you're heavily booked and blessed, Brian. That's what Marcus Ellis says when we're busy. Heavily booked and blessed.
Oh, I didn't even know that phrase. I don't know. Speaking of him, I don't know how he's able to come up with so many different inspirational phrases every morning.
He's so good. I love Marcus Ellis. All right, I'm going to take a quick picture, everyone. Smile. All right, you guys can continue. This has been such a great conversation around clarity. Thanks, Brian, for coming through. Anytime you can come through, late or not. It's always great to see your face and hear you.
Well, Brian is one. Kimberly's just a favorite of mine. I'm kind of like a proud mama, and I have gotten to know Brian, Melissa, and Kim on Clubhouse. I don't know, Melissa, if you know Clubhouse at all, but Brian and I, and Angeline, and we. He just mentioned Marcus Ellis. I mean, there's so many people that we've connected with, but. Brian has autism, and he is very, I'm not saying this behind his back. He speaks about this, but the Proud Mama, he is an influencer on LinkedIn and has done, and now so why don't you share a little bit about yourself, what you do for the company you work with, and what you've expanded your horizons with. And it really goes back to clarity. It really does, because you
He has
have
a YouTube channel y'all need to subscribe to. He's so great. Go ahead, Brian. I'm also a proud sister.
Yeah. So, pleasure to meet you, Kimberly, Melissa. Great to see you again, as always, Megan and Angeline, and everybody who is watching on Facebook. I know Mary Kim is watching at the moment. So yeah, I'm on the autism spectrum, and I'm not just an influencer on LinkedIn. I did get verified on LinkedIn recently with the government ID verification, but I'm also on all the other popular platforms as well, the Meta platforms, the TikTok, Clapper. So I'm everywhere, and
Taking
I
the
work.
social media space by storm. I love it.
Yeah. And
his lives put us to shame, Kim. I mean, what he's doing is just awesome, awesome, awesome. And but with the company that you work with, and you've been with them 14 years, you're doing a lot of social media for them as well, correct?
Yeah. Not as much as I do on my own pages, but yeah, I'm a social media administrator for a nonprofit vocational rehabilitation agency for developmentally challenged adults, and I'm also a production assistant with them, which means that I help set up piecework for our participants, and also assist with attendance and payroll as well, and also a future promotion of some sorts. We're not sure totally what the promotion will be in, but we're hoping it'll be something within marketing at some point. So that's what I could share at the moment.
And Brian, let me ask you now, Angeline, I cannot read what Mary Kim is.
She says she is a fan, a mega fan of Brian as well. What he does by being him, he speaks volumes to her own son's community as well.
Lovely.
And she says, "Congratulations, Brian."
Yes, yes, yes. And so, Brian, and we're speaking about clarity, and Melissa just shared about she had a personal, tragedy, so to speak, with her home, and God is taking care of it in spades. But it's put her own personal business behind, and she's asking for some advice of how to expand and expose her paparazzi jewelry business. Now, she also said she's kind of in the dinosaur age of, social media and electronic communication. But do you have any suggestions for she, from a clarity position, how she might expose her jewelry?
Well, I would say the first thing is show up on camera with the jewelry. That would be one of my greatest advices. Another clubhouse friend of mine, who I have not had a chance to meet in person, who is from Bergen County in New Jersey, which is the very northeast near New York. She is really into gemstones, and gemstones in a way can be a little bit like jewelry. And she shows up on camera all the time showing off the jewelry. She has other things that she does too. She's also very into Pinterest, but I'm focusing on the jewelry part for right now.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. And if you don't have, I mean, you're here on StreamYard and you got a notification. So, but if you don't have Facebook or Instagram or that type of thing, Melissa, have a friend help you. That's a great idea, though, just to get out there. Just to get out. What would you suggest, Kim?
I like the idea always too of going back to your established customers. And and even asking them not so much just to purchase from you, but telling them about your respective goals and saying that I would love for you to share it with 5 of your friends. And when you say that, most times people share with it too. So at least they'll share it with someone, but they'll cut down the number here there. But going back to them, but even offering them not so much discount, but just letting them know, like, they're VIP to you, they're special to you. And and people love that when you go to them and you share how much you value them, but also asking them for your support, because you'll find many people really do want to support you in what you're doing and what you're building. And then by them sharing with their friends, like Megan said earlier about referrals, it can bring in new customers to you. So I would definitely do that. And I would even consider, and I know that you all go live often, but maybe do like a fun summer theme around it, or a special or something, like make it like a different kind of energy around it, and to say, we're going to be doing this like a blitz, and really get your customers and people around it to make it fun, because people love to shop and they love when it's fun and energetic, and just add a little different spin to what you're currently doing so it feels different and fresh.
Do you use the word blitz? What's blitz? Or did you say
Like
blitz?
for example, if you have a set of jewelry that you're like, okay, I need to get rid of this amount of jewelry, just say from 12 to 5, give people a short kind of window. I'm going to be selling the following things. So jump online, have it, online where they can be purchasing, just have different things going on in a short period of time. So there's a little bit of a scarcity thing there, so they can purchase quickly and not, like a lot of times, and I'm sure we all do at different points, I'm gonna get back to it. I'm gonna purchase later. So give them that short period of time, purchase it.
Got it.
That urgency to get out there.
Yeah.
That urgency. So, Brian.
We have Mary Kim had offered up, check your local community, as many are offering spaces for local businesses to showcase their products, etc. Also, local libraries or rec centers are open to showcase local businesses. That is a great tip, Mary Kim. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Kim. That was for you, Miss Melissa. So aren't you glad you came in?
Okay, I didn't hear what she said. Somebody.
Read that again, Angeline.
So she was saying, go in your local community for different spaces for local businesses to showcase your jewelry, which I love paparazzi stuff. So I don't have my paparazzi girl anymore, so I'm going to have to get your information.
Okay,
but she's just offering up local libraries, rec centers to showcase local businesses, to get more of a local audience out there and getting out there. So that was a tip from Mary Kim Farkas. Amazing.
Okay.
I love it.
I didn't know that you can go to rec centers and libraries to advertise your jewelry.
Yeah. They have different events sometimes where they allow for local businesses to showcase. So thank you for highlighting that, Mary Kim, because we forget about that, right? Also, for me, I'm your virtual girl, so I would suggest going live and doing even a challenge on your jewelry and being like, hey, it is May. Here is some jewelry coming up for May and the summer or whatever, and like I challenge you to come on with me, and how would you dress this up? How would you add it to your outfit or whatever it is for your first summer thing? So something fun, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, wow, I could really use that. Wearing it out when I go to my summer brunches or when I'm going out with my kids and I want to have some bling, and so just make it super fun and interactive, and that will pull them in, that attraction marketing. Mary Kim show school event fundraisers where you can commit to donate 10% sales and stuff. Like Mary Kim with all the awesome stuff. She's part of our Mom Link community. She's the director of our marketing and sales, so she knows her stuff. Thank you, Mary Kim.
Thank you.
And I would even ask call Carla Runner, and see if she has any ideas, because she's a very creative gal as well. So I would reach out to Carla.
Where are you, Melissa? Where are you located? I was just curious.
I'm in Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Yes.
Is it snowing there? I always ask when I'm like not in Florida.
I called myself, Angeline, doing a special with Mother's Day. I put out a drawing question each day this day I would do a live, I put a drawing question out, like I would ask, so what was something that your mother would have a fit about if you did, or
Oh,
what's your
that's
mom's favorite sayings, what's your mom's favorite quotes, or if your mom got angry at you, what did she call you when she was mad, and what's your pet name? So, and I would get all these responses, and if they responded, then their name would go on the drawing, and I would give them a free Mother's Day gift, shipping on me, the gift on me, and I would mail it to them, or whomever they wanted the gift to go to. And so that was a real big thrill, but it didn't do what I wanted it to do. It got me a lot of, probably build my algorithms, but it didn't give me the customers that I was looking for. And so I wound up giving away a lot of things, which I didn't mind. And then I did it again for my school. I'm a social worker, so I passed out a lot of Mother's Day gifts and teacher appreciation. I did that for Teacher Appreciation Week and gave out a lot of gifts with my cards on it as well. And things, the fire catches, but sometimes the sparks are slow.
Well, we could definitely connect. I know that Kimberly, you have a time constraint and another commitment to go to. So Megan, I'll let you guys continue talking.
Absolutely. Okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Absolutely, Melissa. Thank you for joining us. Well, Kim, thank you for, joining me this evening.
Of course.
And, I really enjoyed getting to know you and further. And you're going on vacation next week. Is that what you said? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you going?
Well, I can't say because my family's behind me and it's surprise.
Okay. So wherever you go, enjoy yourself. You deserve that lovely time with your family and just what you're doing. So we will connect, when you get back.
Yeah.
And
we're talking tomorrow, I think, right?
Did we? I didn't know that we established a time. Did we sect? We can do.
Yeah, 1:30. Was it Thursday at 9:30?
No, I was going to say, because I actually am going to the Austin Women Magazine Women's Way Awards, so I have to. So the afternoon is taking that. So 9:30. See, I'm glad we discussed that. That's what I thought, but I didn't know that we had confirmed that. Great. Okay. Well, super. Then I will see you tomorrow at 9:30. Wonderful. Thank you. Have a blessed evening.
Same to you. Bye-bye.
Bye.